I'm a firm believer that transparency and authenticity are key to everything. I think it's so important. Effectively, there's no point speaking upon our best favorable moments if we're not prepared to speak during our biggest struggles, our transformation, and our journey. So if you're not going to speak on that side of things, so don't really have the right really to speak too much about the positive side, does it? Because it doesn't have much weight to it. So sometimes I consider whether it's worth talking about certain topics, and then I go, there's no point. And then sometimes I do. You can probably see by what I do. I'm having a bit of a heavy day. Really, it's because I didn't have a lot of sleep yesterday. I stayed up so late, it was ridiculous. And I don't normally get to that extent, but I did. And now I am absolutely wrecked, and my head's playing tricks on me. But it's actually sometimes it's good because it gives us a moment of reflection, like what's truly eating at us. And like for me personally, I feel like I'm stuck in Groundhog Day sometimes, and you're just like, what is the point of this life? Like, not in some morbid way, but just what is the point at this point? It's like, it's so boring. Like, it's to some extent, we find things to distract ourselves with hobby, vices, projects, whatever it is. But sometimes it just becomes sort of like meaningless. Like, what on earth is the point of this? Is this sustainable? Is it fulfilling? Because these are valid questions, If it's not, it's like, what the hell are we doing here? So yeah, that's where I'm at. That is truly where I'm at. I mean, I can distract myself with hobbies, with things to do, but deep down, I'm immensely frustrated and bored. Bored to an extent. I spoke about the books I have in development, many manuscripts. I've got 4. They're very heavily done. I literally just got to work, like edit them down, and decide what's really going to be the final product. But I've no doubt once I focus, there'll be if I pick one of the projects to truly focus on, it'll be done within 2 months and released. That's how like ready they are. But the reality is, in the winter, I'm never interested. It's just not in my thought process. Part of me nags at me. So I'm quite I'm more ambitious than I've ever been, but I've got like this burning desire to always be like making the most of time, being productive. But then the other side of me is like, mate, it's like winter now. This is when we stop. This is when we stop. I'm like a bear. I'll hunker down. I'll hibernate. I'm good. It's like, let me be. Just let me be, man. I don't need anything too serious right now. I just need to chill, relax, recover energy, and be ready for spring. And that's what I really genuinely like. It's like in the spring, I'll be at my most creative. I'll be have a burning desire to get things done, and I'll be firing all cylinders. In this period, it's kind of like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want because like I say, I could lose myself to some gaming, to some movies and things. I'll be perfectly fine with it. But like I say, is it sustainable? What it is, when we invest in these hobbies, it just becomes a bit of a cash cow. You're just spending money perhaps you shouldn't be spending just because it's interesting now, and it's like this is where my energy is going towards. And now I want things. It's natural. So yeah, that side of things is quite frustrating, really, because like I say, there's part of me yearning to do more. I may even surprise myself and start working on some of these book projects soon because the urge is nagging at me, and it's kind of like I feel like I should be. So maybe I will, maybe I won't. I was thinking about like love and romance as well lately, and I'm getting really bored of it all. The idea that you wait on someone and it all comes to be the whole process of it all just starts to bore the living crap out of me. In all honesty, it's like I don't even care anymore. Some days I'm truly romantic, and I'm like, you can't help but dream of a relationship and things coming together. And then another day, I'm like, I don't even give a shit. I'm not in the mood today. So there's ups and downs. Yeah, I don't want to go too far into that really, but at the moment I've just got no interest now. I'm getting bored. It's like I can't be bothered. I'm trying to find ways now just to focus on me. You can't put your life on hold waiting for people or circumstance coming together. It just gets boring. The longer you wait, the more bored you get. Now it's no longer interesting, and that's kind of where it's getting. I think what it is, it's like, especially if you're waiting on a specific person, it's kind of like, you know what, if you've been ignored for that long, you don't really feel too interested, do you? It's almost like how much respect do you have for yourself, and it's like, yeah, I've got an awful lot of respect for me, so yeah, I get, like I say, that window's closing quite rapid for me personally because I'm just, I'm looking for more of a positive tone to my life, I think. Yeah, on this tone actually, while I'm waffling because I'm in a waffly mood. Did a video recently. I think it was like literally last week. I think it's a week ago. I can't remember the exact day. But anyway, I did a tarot reading for myself, and I was at my mum's home. I've got to get the car repaired. I was talking about all this, and it made more sense financially to stay there for just like 7 to 10 days. It was kind of like just stay. It's safer as well because you don't know if the car's okay. I don't know. And I had this urge just to get home. I don't know why. It just come over me, and I was like, I need to get home. So I could pull my tarot cards out, and I asked, um, should I stay? And it was like, no. And then I was like, should I go? And it was like, yeah. I was like, hmm. I can't remember. I asked another question with it. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but it was quite powerful one way or the other. Just definitely to go. I've been having issues with the rest of the family for a while. I'm not someone who plays nice. I don't do false it is. I'm not interested in that shit. It just won't happen. So if someone tries to preempt anything or expects a different reaction from me, you're not going to get any different reaction. I don't play. I've got no time for it. So, if I'm surrounded by people I don't want to be surrounded by, I'll leave anyway. I'm not surrounding myself in the wrong environment. So it's weird that I'm home and then a family member had travelled down to see my mum, and I would have been there. And I thought, that's interesting. It's not that I'm scared of confrontation. I really couldn't give a shit. But I choose where my energy goes, and I'm not investing my energy in people I don't respect. So I've got no interest in playing nice with it. It's like I'm done. I've already said I'm done enough times, So yeah, it was kind of interesting. The cards alluded to leaving for specifics, and then that happened. So I thought, that's quite cool. I'm not leaning so much on my tarot at the moment. Once I start getting fed up in different directions, I truly get fed up. It's just like I'm sick of signs. I don't doubt the signs. I don't want to misconstrue it. I get a lot of signs, but I've had a lot of signs for a long time, and it just gets a bit boring in the end. You're like, I just want action now. Signs don't do anything for me. So I'll still get, I even through my TikTok, I'll still get a shitload of tarot readings and other information. There'll be signs for other content, and there'll be number synchronicities all over the place. And it's like, but I'm just like, scroll. Don't even let people finish talking anymore. I'm like, yeah, done. Not interested. Stop sending me signs. I don't give a shit anymore. And it might be this person's thinking of you. It's I don't care anymore. People had long enough to think of me, people had long enough to take action. People had long enough to talk to me. It's like I've always been available. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, I'm not waiting anymore. It's just not, I've got better things to do. So yeah, things are fading. My interest fading quite rapidly. So yeah, the way I feel at the moment is I feel like I've just upgraded my laptop, play some games. I just feel like throwing myself into the games over the winter, to be honest. Spend time with my daughter again at Christmas, and it's like between now and then, just try and find a way to relax. I feel like I've done an awful lot of work, and of course, like most people, I expect to have seen success, and I haven't seen it, but I don't lose hope. But I just feel like sometimes you've got to let the universe catch up, and it's kind of like, well, the universe catch up, I'm going to chill out. That's pretty. So if I go quiet for any reason, it's because I'm literally just taking the next few weeks. Probably FaceTime. I leave my daughter to decide everything. So if she wants to chat, I chat. Even if I've got something to do and I'm thinking, I was going to have this planned. I'm always available for her though. So if she says, can we call? It's like, oh, shit. Sometimes I'm like that because it's like, we don't call for an hour. We call for the rest of the day. So if let's say it's 11 a.m. on a Saturday, and I'm thinking I've got this plan, I'm going to do this, I've got like a whole day of chilling it, but it's like it's going to be like productive because I don't want to keep losing hours, and I'm like, I'm going to make something of the day, and then maybe it's 11 a.m. and she's like, can you call? And it's like, that's not, the time ain't ideal because that's now going to be from 11 a.m. to maybe 10 p.m. It's like, I had a day. But when we're talking, we have a lot of fun. So yeah, so no matter what plan I have, she tends to interfere with it in her own way. But it's time that I consider precious anyway, so it's more important anyway. But that's really where my time's going to be. I can't see me, to be honest. I'm not in the mood to keep doing these deep content at the moment. I feel like I've gone through my deep introspection. I've talked and spoke a lot about things in general. I've shared my highs, my lows, my frustrations. But like I said, I just think it's so important that we share these lows, not to bring people down. It's for people to recognise that if they're on a similar path, that it's normal. I was thinking just a little while ago, I just want to be with soul family now. People that are actually aligned with me. People at the same level as me. And then it popped into my head, maybe no one's at your level. And I knew it was going to be arrogant. It's going to come across arrogant. I keep talking about that all the time. But sometimes you have to have a look at your life and think, it's the only thing that makes sense. I get bored. I get really, not even bored. I get so frustrated. I was even thinking about it this morning. I was thinking, I'm so sick and tired of this, man. It's like innately, I know I have a purpose in this life. Innately, I know things about our existence. So innately, I hold myself to such a standard that I don't put myself in foolish situations. But sometimes I'm like, I'm missing out on life. Like genuinely, and I get really, really fed up. So some people can just like go into like frivolous relationships or just have meaningless moments. I can't do it because I hold myself so accountable. It's just not in my DNA. And then I'm thinking, well, it'd be nice if my DNA was a little different because that's really frustrating that I miss out on all the distractions that other people have. You know, I don't have that in me. I can't, and it's really annoying. So as you grow up, of course, you just think you're a little bit weird or different, but you know innately it's just who you are. It's not you don't do it for some sort of status symbol. It's just literally who you are. So I can't do one night stands. It's never been in me. It's not, if someone seeks attention, I won't give it, and things like that. It's just, I don't know. I've just seem to be wired different. But yeah, it just makes me a bit fed up at times because it's like, you know what, I'm missing out on a lot of things that other people have been through, and it's not fair because I know it ain't great for you, of course, but it's still an experience, isn't it? So, like I say, when it comes to romance, and you kind of had the idea, you already give it. It's not even that you've got the idea of a specific person. The universe just keeps throwing that person at you, with information, and it's like this isn't fair, though. This isn't fair. I didn't ask for this. But my destiny this seems to be the destiny. So then I'm at the mercy of whoever that person is to do their healing. And it's not fair for me to put pressure on them either. So it's not about all that, but it's like I still have to exist in the middle of all that. And it gets exhausting. It's almost like it gets exhausting. It's not even trying to be perfect, but it's like living that to such a status, to such a level of your own accord. But that in itself gets exhausting. But I can't even do it any other way. So as frustrated as I get, and I get immensely frustrated, it's like I can't do anything about it though, because my circumstances dictated by the whatever the situation is. It's unreal. So I said I was thinking earlier, like just a while ago, it'd be nice to be around soul family because I was thinking I don't have that. Then I started thinking maybe there's a few people in my life who are maybe soul family, but they're not at the same level in terms of like their experience, the discovery of life, and just like I wanna be around people who challenge me as much as I would challenge them. And I haven't got that. And that's why I say it wasn't from a place of arrogance. It was just straight away in my head. I just thought maybe that doesn't exist. I get a lot of signs that I'm a teacher. I'm here to help people. I'm a leader of my own in my own right, and all these other things. And I think sadly sometimes that if that, let's say that is the destiny and that is your status, naturally, it's natural that you don't have many equals. So you are like the army of one sort of shit. So I don't say all this to elevate a position. I've never cared. I don't care about authority. Never liked authority. So definitely don't consider myself authority. But I just hold myself to a certain standard. And like I said, I think it's just really important that we share sort of all sides of our experiences. I'm sick and tired of people sugarcoating things and then they act like their life perfect. And then you see a little window because they slip up and it ain't all it seems. Or they act like they're struggling when really they're doing incredibly well and they're just trying to get sympathy. I hate all this shit. This superficial lying crap. I hate it. So I share the highs and the lows. I share the whole in-betweens. I share all of it. And people are gaining an opinion one way or another. I don't mind. It's just open. I just want to open people's eyes to things, and make them not feel so lonely if they're going through something similar. Because there's going to be countless people who are also ascending on their journey, and they're going to feel different to everyone around them. Maybe there's some sort of familiarities on some level, but they'll realize they're elevating way beyond their circumstance and the people around them. It's kind of like it just gets lonely. It gets incredibly lonely. But then not to the point where the real problem is where I think this is where some people just wouldn't truly understand. When you're elevating, it means your status is improving. Your sense of belief in yourself, but also your aura. So this isn't a case of, oh, I'm lonely, I'm going to go and throw myself into situations. I've already explained I can't do it. It's not in my DNA. It's not in my makeup of who I am. I'm not here to have those moments, and it's frustrating because it would seem easier to have those moments. Um, so the trouble is, when you're lonely, you have to just suffer through it, and then find the higher purpose to it, the meaning, find the lesson in it, and ascend and keep growing. And really, you end up becoming your own teacher. Whereas other people, maybe they lean on someone else for advice and that, but you end up you only have you, and effectively your spirit guides, angels, the signs they give you, and it's up to you to interpret it. But you're just like beating to your own drum and trying to figure life out and interpret the experiences and the signs. And but damn, it gets exhausting, sometimes boring. So anyway, that's where I'm at the moment. It's trying to make sense of the chaos I find myself. Weirdly, I'm in the middle of chaos in terms of like the finances. Now, I've been spending money, the little I have, but I shouldn't. An example is this. Oh, crap. So with Amazon, you get like 30 days to return things, and I'm right at the threshold of that. I spoke recently, I got an ultra wide monitor, but it came at the sacrifice of having to return something. So I treated myself, I could say foolishly or not, I don't know. Nintendo Switch Lite, the gold one. I really like it. It's really nice. It's going to be a limited edition one day. It'll be worth more money than you paid for it. But to get my ultra wide monitor, I had to put in for the exchange. Now that Amazon are expecting it back, so either I have to pay the for the Switch again because they've already refunded me towards the monitor, or return it. And I've got to return it because I don't have the money for it, and it's not making financial sense to keep it. But these are the little things I do to keep myself sane, because that's all I have sometimes, and it's like my mind, you just get fed up and you just want something, just to improve your day, and inevitably it gets taken away again. So it's like I get frustrated with that because I think I've worked hard enough where I shouldn't have to keep losing, but sadly I do. Don't feel too bad about it. It's nice to have, but it's not an essential in my life. I've got other things to focus on. And like I said, I've still got these books to really get on with, and I can only do so much. But people may see when I talk about I just got this, I just got that. Some of the stuff I don't get to keep. It's just the way it is. I'm not in a privileged position like that. Sometimes I make reckless decisions. I think I make fewer reckless decisions nowadays, but I still do some things because what's life with a bit of freaking fun, Do you know what I mean? It's like, I like a challenge. I'm used to struggle anyway, so if I'm gonna, sometimes the logic don't logic, does it? But it's like I'm so used to struggling financially, but sometimes it just gets a bit overwhelming. You just think, if I'm going to struggle and have nothing, I might as well struggle and have something. It just means the struggle's harder, but at least I got something. But inevitably, like I said, it ends up going. But the ultra wide monitor, I just point blank refused. I thought I'm just gonna battle through any hardship because I can't keep going without. I had one earlier in the year, returned it, because I couldn't afford to get it, and then I got another one, and I'm like, I'm not doing it again. That's not going away because it makes my experience better. And I recently upgraded the memory in my laptop, and it was only like 50 quid. It's not a lot of money, and it's improved the experience. I'm like, that's something. I'm not playing with that. That's staying. So there are things where I'm drawing a line now and saying that's non-negotiable. But sending the Switch back is something I did. So I've already sent a game back today, and something else went back, and that actually paid for the memory because I said, again, you return it and they offer an exchange. I chose that, so I've had to send the grip that I had around this and the game back, which funded the memory. So you know what I mean. So these ain't things where I'm just going mad spending. It's like there's like methods to the madness. But in all honesty, I'd probably lose my mind if I didn't have something because life seems to be on a weird trajectory at the minute. Like I say, my back keeps causing me problems. Even if I think, oh, you know what, I might be doing all right. I kid you not, the next day or something will happen, and it'll be like, my back's hurting for hours, and it's like, this is just freaking unreal, man. I just want a break. I have no qualms in getting dug in. I've always done warehouse work and forklifts. I can do all that. Now, you look over the side, the books I do, the things I talk about, I think are far deeper than that, and I should be making a living off it. Sadly, it doesn't always come the way you want it or when you want it. But I have no problem going in doing manual work. I don't give a shit. I don't mind doing it. if anything, you get to hang around people, and it's sometimes interesting. And I like to watch different people of different backgrounds and cultures and all sorts. And it's like, for me, it's interesting just watching dynamics. And of course, getting involved within that as well. Sometimes I get involved in a little bit of conflict every now and again, because inevitably there's always someone that tries to suppress, control me, or dominate me. And I always find that quite fun because I don't let that happen. So it's like, challenge. I don't care what authoritative position that person is. It's like, yeah, I don't put up with that. So that makes my day interesting when it happens. But yeah, at the moment, every time I seem to think about going to those positions, which would help my financial situation no end, my back hurts again. I'm like, I talk about this a lot. It's like how you can only do so much, and money, it doesn't define us, and money isn't the barometer of our happiness or success. I think when you forgo your own health for the currency of money, I just think the disparity is just between sort of reality is crazy. It's like, it's so superficial. It's like I say, I'm having to return things, but I'd much rather return like a gadget. I'd rather return that than destroy my back. I see people when they're hunched, they're older in life and they're just hunched all the time. And I'm looking, thinking, nah, my God, why did they do that to themselves? Oh, because society says you have to work that hard to the point where you're brutalized. And you'll get some people, this is the reality, this is another thing that's really important. It's like money, if you say like, even something small, it's good. When it comes to money, it could be a fraction of anything, or it could be an immense amount of money. But what we consider a lot or little is really dependent on our financial circumstance, situation, and sometimes what we've experienced in the past. So a lot of money to me may be a little bit of money to someone else, and I think that's where we go, where we're different to an extent. But you could have someone who works their ass off, destroys their back, or any part of their body really. They don't have time at all, and their life is just solely that. And then people will say, that's right, you should do that. But you'll have someone who only has to put in half that effort, none of the time, and they'll make a shitload of money in comparison. So where is life fair? So reality is, look, I don't get to govern how much money I earn. I don't get to determine. I can put a price on my books, and I can say, this is what I feel it's worth. And I won't change that. Even if I'm struggling, people might look at my books and go, oh, that's too expensive because I've not really heard of you before, and it's too much of a risk. And it's like, I get it, I understand that, but I'm still not lowering the value. So even though I'm struggling and I could put the prices down of my books to give myself some leeway to help me sort of build a following, I still won't do it. And I've been the same way for years. It's not going to happen. That's what I rate that work. And I think that's what it is. It's certain sides of us we value higher. Me giving my time and energy towards something physically, for me, I don't. That's just like that stops you being bored. I don't mind getting paid for that. Just anything really, menial shit. But if you're gonna ask me to use my mind, and you're gonna ask me to share from experience to create, like, through wisdom, and try and help inspire people and help change people's lives, then I value that very highly. Hence the price of the books. So for instance, if I had a career in that direction, I would demand more because I'm giving parts of me, not just time and a bit of effort. It's like far more than that. And that's why I put these little different bars there. But yeah, it shouldn't be standard that we destroy ourselves. And I won't do it. But it gets frustrating because you're kind of thinking, how long am I supposed to struggle? Because it's surely supposed to, because that's the logic. When I try to make the logic, it's like, it doesn't make sense otherwise. If my purpose here is to help inspire people and lead by example, be authentic, show people the highs, the lows, how to traverse this life, as crazy as it is, and inspire them and give them direction, it's kind of like, okay, I get it. I've put the work in. And when's the success supposed to come? And the other side of that, of course, is because this is where I think it's like everything goes hand in hand. So let's say the universe holds me back because there's a lesson to learn, or something. There's something in something. It's like, right, but it's still holding up the opportunity for someone to heal then, isn't it? Because I can't help them because my work isn't getting noticed. So at some point, you've got to let it get noticed. Otherwise, I couldn't help them, even though I've already put the effort in. All you've got to do is show it to them. So from that side, from the universe side, from my spiritual sense, that's what that says. It's like, you only have to show them, though, don't you? So the longer you keep testing me and holding me back, these people are suffering. So I'm not understanding. It's like, just So yeah, so it all goes hand in hand. Really, it's like I can't be successful unless it helps people, but people need to be ready to be helped. So yeah, effectively that's part of the process as well. People might look at me and like I said, people are, just because I say I'm not. This is an important part. Just because I say I'm not arrogant doesn't mean I'm not arrogant. Like I don't consider myself arrogant. I know why I do things, and it's not from a place of arrogance, egotism. It's none of that because I don't posture above people. I've never been interested in it. You know, I recognize I'm ascending higher than those around me, but like I said, I still want to meet people of a similar level to me, though. But I just at this point, I've not met people who have, and that's just what that is. But it's not me trying to lord over people because I still try to inspire, and I don't do it from a place of elevated status. You know, but like I say, just because I say that doesn't mean other people view it that way. Um, and the real reality is, some people may look at that and think, "Well, I'm not investing in him because I'm not going to boost his ego." So really, but let's say they need the advice you're giving. If they release their ego, so they're worried. This is the other thing. Maybe someone's worried about my ego while they're in their ego. So they're being so defensive that they're just restricting their own ability to have to grow because they don't want to seem inferior. When really, you just got to let it all go and actually just if there's something you can take from it, some words of advice, encouragement, helping direction, then it's like take it. Just because it come from me and maybe you didn't like it, it's like that's irrelevant, isn't it? The whole point is to grow and learn. So yeah, some people I think to spite me, they spite themselves. And really, it's like waiting for people to wake up and stop doing that to themselves. It's kind of like there's a lot I could help people with if only they would stop worrying about being inferior. You know what I mean? Because like, we're all on a healing journey. At the end of the day, a few years ago, I'd be further back, wouldn't I? I'm only further forward because of the healing I've been and how highly I value myself and the standards I set in my life. And that's been a hard process. It hasn't been easy. When you dismiss people from your life and you start setting boundaries, that comes with so much hassle. I mean, everyone's been through similar, especially with its family. You'd have other people in your family trying to force you to make peace with people and tell you to get along. And it's like, no, I'm not doing it from a place of confrontation. I'm doing it from a place of I have to set boundaries here. Just because I was born into this family and I was born around certain people, I've put up with it for too long. I've now recognized we're just completely different people with very different morals, very different outlooks on life, and different ambitions and things. And it's like my values are just so different to them. It's like you can't convince me to get along because that's just then me selling part of myself to try to facilitate that. I'm not doing it. And I can't expect them to raise their vibration and come on a similar journey to me when they don't have it in them. So sometimes you just got to cut your losses, you know? But that's a hard process to do because in your mind, you're trying to make it peaceful. You're trying to get along with people. You're trying to put up with them as much as you can. In some ways, you try to educate them, but eventually you just got to realize you're just bashing your head against a wall. But I think once you establish a boundary, it's like there's no way that just happened. That's a whole process there. And that's every part of your life, you know? So where I'm headstrong and things is only because I finally snapped and just said, look, I can't live in people's shadow anymore. I'm not doing it. I'm not living in my own shadow. That's effectively what people do. They cast a shadow over you, try and make you feel small. I don't know. They put you in a box and whatever they try to do, and it's like, no, I can't stay in this box anymore. I've got to grow. I've just got to be me now. Yeah, I can't do this. If it doesn't fit in and people don't fit in, I have to just let them go. That's just all I can do, you know. But like I said, it just gets incredibly lonely. It's unreal. And at the moment, that's where my frustration lingers. Is I don't actually know in terms of career, and I think it's important. These are good, important questions. Things, you know, it's like it's not all about the money. It's not all about the money. Yeah, okay, money would help me a lot, but it's like I want to feel. Oh, this is where I want to get to. I want to wake up and have a reason for waking up. I want to feel there's genuinely a pep in my step. I am excited about the day ahead. There's something that's going to just make me excited, you know, and I'm doing something I truly have a passion for. Um, Maybe it is the books. Maybe if the books started being successful, it inspired me to write more. Maybe I have first-hand interactions with people who need help, and I'm able to help them, and I get to witness that myself, and it makes me want to do it more. Maybe it's performing on stage. Maybe it's going. Maybe it's like being part of some show or something. You know, who knows where life leads us? But right now, I don't have whatever excites me. I'm sure life is leading me there, but right now, I don't feel fulfilled at all in any part. There's no point me sitting there counting the pages of my books and just sitting there reminiscing and going, "Oh, ain't you special?" I don't do that. They're on the bookshelf. I don't look at them anymore. There might be like a day each year. Maybe there'll be a day where I just get them off the shelf and I decide to start reading them. But because I'm doing so many now, it's getting hard to. I used to read every time I released a book, I used to go back and read the first one and then work my way through them. But of course, the more you do, it's like this is getting quite long now. Especially I've got other books to read. I've got other things to do, and it's like of course, I read it a lot while I edit it, and I read it again after I finished it, and it's like you've read it a lot at that point. So yeah, I'm excited for the future, but I kind of feel like like I said, I'm in Groundhog Day. I'm waking up, and there's not much point to me waking up, and that's just pointless, isn't it? That's how it feels. I don't sort of walk around morose all day, but it's like when I wake up sometimes, I'm like, what is the point of today? Like, what's the plan? It's just ridiculous. It's like there's nothing genuinely to jump out of bed and get excited for. Sometimes maybe I've got a plan in place, and I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm never truly bored. I've always got something to do, but like I said, I'm not. It's not the. It's, I'm not living the dream. I'm not living my career yet, and I'm not really sure what that career is. All I know is whatever I'm doing is leading me there. But yeah, I feel quite frustrated, and because I'm so frustrated in that avenue, and I'm frustrated like with the finances, all these things, I also get frustrated in the idea of love. It's like I'm so bored because I just want someone to be like, I want to be excited to meet someone, and I want them to be as excited to meet me. I don't want it to be so complicated. I don't want someone to have to convince themselves this could work. It's like you should just know. You should just know. It shouldn't be that complicated. I understand that the variables are complicated, especially if you have to relocate, but that's still stuff that can be worked out later. I just think you either have feelings for someone or you don't. And I think if you've got to convince yourself that you do, it's like, that's not great. I don't want someone that has to work that hard to feel they love you, It's like, well, they've got a feeling towards you. That's boring. Love shouldn't be work. One of the big things I would say before I wrap up here is communication is so important. I think that's one of the biggest but one of the biggest things, being open and transparent. The same way I am now on camera, it's the same way you should be in a relationship. I think when you've got to hide parts of yourself or you just can't be yourself, and that's where things just go wrong. You can have disagreements. I don't think things should always turn into full blown arguments. Of course, it can happen because everybody, we can all have a mood. Um, but your relationship shouldn't be built on that. It should just be built on trust and being able to communicate. And if you feel like you can't communicate with someone, then I would argue that's probably not your person, or it's not your person right now. Because one or both of you need to do a lot of healing, to get to be in a place where your egos are no longer challenging situations. Because you have to drop the ego, allow yourself to be vulnerable, allow yourself to be you, and then just exist within that. So that's how I am. It's just I speak how I feel. I take action where I need to, and I won't let people put me in a box. But I just think communication is vital. But if other people don't communicate, there's no communication, is there? So then it's like you're just inferring from behavioural patterns, and I just find that pointless. And I'm not doing it. I'm sick of that. Like I said, I get a lot of signs about things, but I don't listen to it anymore. I don't care. I'm done caring. It's weird. Even a week ago, I was asking my tarot cards how that person's feeling. Now I just don't even want to hear it. I get the tarot, I get the readings through TikTok, and I just don't want to hear this shit no more. This person's thinking of taking an action towards you. So I can't give a shit anymore. I've been waiting long enough. I haven't heard, but regarding a certain person, I haven't heard from nearly a year. And before that, it was about a year and a bit since we spoke last time. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we haven't really spoke. If we think about it, for the past 2 or 3 years, barely spoke. So sometimes I think you just got to move on with life, and it's just the way it is. But like I say, the universe doesn't seem to let up and let me just get on. Now, it doesn't mean in the future if it comes to be that because obviously I expect. I think sometimes people convince themselves something's harder than it is. I think sometimes people try and talk themselves out of a situation. But if it's meant to be, and you do finally talk, it likely flow. And if you end up in a relationship, I just think it's finally, everything just comes together. So my frustrations today, if I was one day married to this person, it wouldn't be a case of how I feel today as a reflection, any semblance on that relationship in the future. Because effectively, I have to drop my ego, they have to drop their ego. And you're going to have to trust each other. And once you do that, and then life becomes beautiful, you're just going with the flow, aren't you? And it's nice. But at the moment, I'm just a bit bored of circumstance because I can't win no matter what I do. It's just, and that's how it feels in my life. I can work my ass off and I still won't get much growth. Work my ass off, still won't have much money coming in. I could post 1 million love songs and it still won't attract love. So I'm genuinely stuck in purgatory to an extent at the moment, and that's genuinely what life feels like. So kind of like I've just got to make peace with the present state and find a way to relax, and that's life right now for me. So yeah, there may be a period where I can't show you, but I got a figurine of Shrek, and there's this car. And I've just looked around, and the Shrek character's fallen over, and he's got his head face planted into the roof of the car. But it looks like he's so fed up, bash. That's the feeling I get there. Weird. Yeah, because another thing now, I've got one of those things that hold your controllers. I don't know if you've seen them. I can't remember what they're called, but it's like it's one from Fallout. He's just holding his hands out like that for the controller. So you've got this Shrek character smacked his head, fed up, but he's putting his hand out like that, like offer. But it's a big grin on its face. But that's weird. No, okay. Some of these videos I do are a bit rambling and to most people pointless, but I do them for people to see when they're supposed to. And for instance, I talk about opportunity status and all that and breakthroughs. And I don't doubt the opportunities that come in the future. And there may be a time when your status elevates like crazy. And it's the videos you did during your crisis or during your low moments or your struggles or you before the breakthroughs, people, because they're timeline, they're dated, they're stamped. It may help someone in that period to look back at before that happened, and it makes some sense of it. So that's why I do this. This isn't no pity shit. I don't ask anyone for anything. This is just me laying a timestamp of a moment, a period of time, a period of my history in the future, of course. But maybe it will help someone. Because even if it just helps one person, it's worth my time to do this, And of course, it's like therapy for me to speak out loud. Maybe that's something else other people should consider doing too. Because the more we dissect things, the more we can make sense of it. But making sense of my circumstance at the moment is just a minefield of chaos. The spirit will give me signs. I can use my cards, but again, I'm just sick of signs. It's like the breakthrough's coming, then the bar moves. Breakthrough's coming in 2 months. 2 months come. Breakthrough's coming in the spring. It's like stop telling me time frames because I'm sick of this shit now. I don't have the patience for it. It's just driving me nuts to the point where I may not even react if I was given an opportunity. Because it really depends where I'm at on my journey, how I feel. Just because someone reaches out doesn't mean I answer. We'll all have temperaments. But anyway, whether this was any useful, I don't know. I just felt a bit frustrated because I barely had any sleep and I'm agitated all day. And I thought, to be honest, we are quite fed up today, and it's a bit. Maybe we need to talk a little. Maybe we need to talk.